Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Beth Rogozinski, and I am the CEO of Acoustics AI. Acoustics is one of the Canadian companies that is here today, and we are a software as a medical device company that actually mines the raw sound signal from ultrasound devices. And we can take any ultrasound device, like the one that I'm holding up here, and turn it into a virtual biopsy tool. So this is the exact type of innovation that healthcare needs. And did you know that in 2024, healthcare was one of the 5th least digitized industries globally, just ahead of mining, where they're still using shovels? But that actually gives me all the more pleasure in introducing our next panel here today that is going to be led by Nicolas Sauvage of TDK Ventures. And I'm very pleased to introduce a woman who is not only a leader in innovation, but is a leader and a role model for women and girls and women CEOs everywhere. Please join me in welcoming Barbara Humpton, CEO of Siemens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicolas.
Barbara, it's an honor to have you.
Don't you love the way he says my name?
Barbara, it's a French accent.
I want to hear that from all of you when we meet in the social area.
Barbara, it's an honor to have you today. I was asking the attendees of yesterday's event, you contributed to the Woman on Board.
Yes.
3 words keep coming back: leadership, sincere, authentic. So I know it's going to be amazing today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So maybe we start, yes. Maybe we start with, could you introduce your role and what Siemens do?
Yes, I'm really thrilled to serve as the CEO of Siemens in the US. You may know Siemens as the global powerhouse, combining the real and the digital world to transform the everyday for everyone. We'll talk about that a little bit more. What you may not know is that the US is Siemens' largest market. About 25% of the business worldwide is conducted here in the US. So think about 45,000 employees across this great nation of ours. Think about every single piece of Siemens being represented here, and 17,000 suppliers. We have the ability to do everything from making trains look for high-speed rail coming to a state near you, to transforming the way buildings are connected, to working in the future of manufacturing. But it all started over 175 years ago, when Werner von Siemens and his brother would have actually had a garage startup if garages had been invented. Siemens was born in a stable.
Actually, I didn't tell you, but my first job was at Siemens in Munich, Neuperlach Süd in '97. So
you did not tell me that.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
How about your role? Because I want you to present your role so then I can ask about corporate venturing and how it fits with your strategy.
Yes, so overall, I serve as part of the global leadership of Siemens. And of course, where we're aiming is this future that is more connected, more electric, frankly, more autonomous. And a lot of people don't want to hear that word, but I'm telling you, these are the trends. In fact, let me just actually set this in the context of the global megatrends. In 2010, Siemens built a business strategy around 5 megatrends. And I'll tell you, if you hitch your business wagon to inexorable forces, you will grow and succeed. Climate change, urbanization, the aging demographics of people everywhere. In other words, a shrinking workforce. What are we going to do to help make people more productive? An ever more global supply chain. In spite of the globalization that's going on now, we know that we rely on each other around the globe, and the digitalization of everything. 5 global megatrends. And the question was, our know-how in electrification, automation, digitalization, how could we bring that to bear? Now, we know that ecosystems of technologists are inventing incredible new things. And the reason I'm thrilled to be in this room, Nicola, is because I want to help create an ecosystem of capital that will help accelerate progress in addressing these global megatrends. I'm looking for partners who can complement the work that's already being done at Siemens in our own investing in order to accelerate what our customers are trying to do.
And there are so many partners here. And you talk about these unstoppable megatrends.
Yes.
But that requires change of mindset. And I know you're building a platform mindset change.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk about the approach of corporate venturing to do that?
Yes, all right. So think about how Siemens might have gone to market in the past. We're all familiar with the idea of invent the better mousetrap, now build a sales force and go address and market this to customers. Man, the platform economy changes everything. The future is all about ecosystems, creating value together. So Siemens has recently announced our Siemens Accelerator platform. Now think again about the kind of businesses we're involved in. The last decades were about creating the Internet of People, and we've seen the rise of the platform economy. This next decade is about creating the Internet of Things, or in our case, the Internet of really big things. So what we've learned from the work that's been done right here in Silicon Valley is that no one does this alone. In this next phase, which is exponentially larger than what we've been through with the Internet of People, we know that we've got to build these ecosystems of collaborators, and hence the deployment of capital. Yeah, many of you are familiar with or have worked with Next 47. Siemens invested in a venture capital arm that is independent and capable of driving investments, and they have a really cool investment premise. But if you look closely, you'll find capital being deployed all across the Siemens Corporation. In fact, we've just announced an investment in negative emissions technologies. Carbon capture is one of our most recent investments. That came out of Siemens Financial Services, and so on and so forth. What we've learned is that it takes the whole engine, it takes, or I should say motor in this electrified age, shouldn't it?
Yes.
It takes the entire motor to be connected to the full value chain in order for the growth to happen. So we have experts in technology constantly surveying the landscape for the emerging technologies that exist right there at where the real and the digital meet. Think of those as the building blocks of the industrial metaverse. That's where Siemens is going to focus. And as IP is generated within the corporation, the typical question is, do we launch this outside? Do we incubate it inside? Is this something that's adjacent to a business we're already running? All of those questions have to be answered for us to understand how best to accelerate the change that we know will come.
I really like your granular approach. It's not just one size fits all. It's really granular. And the golden nugget is ecosystem partnerships.
I love this diagram here, right? Because it takes networks.
The interconnections, yes, absolutely. And so let's talk about speed, because sometimes our trends, of course, the mega trends, which take decades to pan out, but sometimes you need to be very fast to identify innovation. Sometimes the one you should not miss. I mean, we just had Andrew N. before us talking about generative AI, and now it could change everything. How do you approach corporate venturing and this granular view to pick this innovation that moves very fast?
Yeah, so we have this, and many of you are blessed with the same gift. You're part of large organizations where you have technologists who are working on the edges of all kinds of things. You also have investment experts who are skilled at understanding the value propositions. It takes all of that in order for us to stay where we need to be, fleet of foot, able to move. And actually, in the Siemens Corporation, we've got the cautionary tales, as all large corporations do. There were those moments where the team missed a major trend. Does anyone remember Siemens telephones? Right, totally obliterated by the switch to voice over IP. Yep. And everyone recognized that the rise of wireless telecommunication was a shift that Siemens could have been involved in, and boom, you know, so that always hangs in the back of the mind as, you know, we can get it wrong. But instead, what I prefer to think about with our team is more a mindset of abundance. There are so many opportunities out there. And our job as Siemens is to think like the genetic scientists. I mean, here we are just miles from where all the work is being done to unlock the secret of the genetic code, CRISPR, et cetera, right? Giving us new powers we've never had before. What I like to think about is that at Siemens, we're building the amino acids of combining the real and the digital world. The digital twin, the AI and machine learning that enables machines to become more interconnected, the software-enabled hardware that gives us the ability to command, the cloud hosting for some of those capabilities. These are all the genetic pieces that others, this is the amino acids, others put together to form the proteins of their business. Yes. And so today you find us in these really deeply technical fields, healthcare and transportation and infrastructure. But the fact is, where the real world meets the digital is transforming rapidly, and our investors now are looking for multiple ways for us to deploy our technology. It's not a question of where should we be specializing, how should we be looking for pure play, it's how do we redefine a tech sector that touches everything?
And Beth mentioned that healthcare is one of the last 5 to digitize. It makes no sense. So maybe we can double click with one example in healthcare and another example where you identified innovations and you were able to tap it. Because the problem with abundance is you still need to pick.
Yes, we've got to pick. Yeah, let's talk about healthcare for a minute. Siemens Healthineers was spun out several years ago. The leadership of the company understood that there was a shareholder demand for creating large pure plays, capable of having an investment strategy that is coherent with the market they were serving. So Siemens Healthineers. Now they are experts in imaging. We now have the ability to bring in AI capabilities so that we can make the most of those images. We can look at thousands of images in order to ensure that patients are getting the best knowledge of what is happening, and get the best diagnosis, the best treatment that's coming. That has evolved rapidly. And you've seen Siemens Healthineers do everything from investments in startups in the realm of this, all the way to bringing Varian into the Siemens Healthineers portfolio and using that power of data plus imaging together to drive change in healthcare. One powerful example. But let's move over into the field of manufacturing. Because what we're finding is that manufacturers everywhere are struggling with this question of supply chains transforming. We know that disruption revealed the fragility of our supply chains. Well, what capabilities are required for us to be able to globalize, create more regional supply chains? Turns out that if we can do simple things like capturing digital twins of items we're likely to need, and then be able to have them produced through a bill of process being sent to a factory in a local area, we have the ability now to produce more locally. Now, you'll see investments that are being made in all kinds of areas across the enterprise, whether it's software as a service, whether it's machine learning and AI, whether it is unique domains that we're actually serving. But the purpose is to stay very close to that platform, the platform concept, so that we will scale with the needs of the markets we're serving.
Excellent. Now, we talk about speed and going fast and identifying these innovations, but sometimes you can't rush. There are things where you need to take your time. Maybe cyber is a good example. So can you talk about how you find the way to change speed depending on the topic?
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you that one of the things I'm most comfortable with in my role is that I'm working for the Siemens Corporation. Siemens founded in Germany, Siemens rooted in deep engineering expertise, a company rooted in science. And we've seen what's happened to companies who've gotten distracted by just thinking of themselves as a financial engine as opposed to really honoring the laws of physics that unfortunately you can't argue with these. Now that we're connecting more of the real world to the digital, of course, we recognize the cyber attack surface that's been created. And we're working closely with partners around the world. One of the things we've done is actually create a charter of trust. Recognizing that a lot of regulatory frameworks can't keep up with the pace of change, what we've said is we're going to be responsible and assure that when we do business with others, we are following best practices in cyber. Incidentally, I looked at the numbers recently. Globally, how many AI experts do you think we have in the organization of 300,000? Turns out about 1,500, and maybe just over. How many cyber experts do we have? About the same. And so what we actually do, and you're right, it runs contrary to the concept of speed, but what we've discovered is you often hear this from Army Special Ops. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. So what we've learned is that taking the time in those early stages to do the right things, the things that you know are required in order to drive success in the large, doing those things early pays dividends later when you want to go fast.
That's another golden nugget. Maybe another example, not just cyber, but somewhere where it makes sense to go slow, then smooth, and then fast.
Examples of where it makes sense to go slow. Well, one of the things we focus on a lot is assuring that our innovators are less focused on the beauty of their technology and more focused on the gnarly problems their customers have to deal with. It makes sense to spend a lot of time in the marketplace up front, validating concepts with customers. And it's amazing how often a team that says, hey, I've got an idea, will morph that idea when they spend time. Talk to 100 customers before you come back and tell us that this is the thing that you want to launch into the marketplace. So time spent with customers, time spent with the scientific disciplines. But the one thing I will tell you is that, and I maybe will share a story from a battery company that we've invested in. The idea of using digital tools to help facilitate the future growth of an organization. A battery manufacturer, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the Inflation Reduction Act, is giving rise to a huge new industry here in the US. Battery manufacturers everywhere are saying, ooh, I want to talk to Siemens about what technologies I should be using. I sat down with the founder who said he's going to bring concepts from his Korean operations into the US. And I asked him, hey, have you built a digital twin of the factory you plan to build? And he said, I'm doing one better. I'm building an actual factory, scaled down. And I made the point that no, actually one of the most valuable things you can do is build virtually first. Try it, test it, shake out all of the bugs, and then before you bend metal, assure yourself that you have the right plan. This idea of the industrial metaverse is going to be a superpower for manufacturers like this one. Well, the fellow, nodded politely and went about his business. 3 months later, I ran into him. How's it going? He said, well, Barb, I understand the reason that you might want to build a digital twin first. We built a whole battery manufacturing line with no overflow areas. He said, if any part of the line goes down, my place is a mess. Wow. So here we are investing alongside you in some of the most exciting new technologies that are addressing climate change, the needs of an aging workforce, the opportunities ahead of us as we globalize the supply chain. We've got the building blocks of the technologies that will help combine the real and the digital. And what I'm excited about is aligning our ecosystem of capital so that we can help accelerate progress. I just want to hear from you all as we have time to share later on today. The thing I'd like to hear from you all is how can we share our know-how of the real world and the digital tools to make it better in ways that can help you make better investment decisions.
Excellent, and this is a call for action. Barbara, in our last minute, I know it's going to be a tough question, but you're in leadership of a major company that has been successful for so long. What does strategic value means to you, and how do you want to have it applied here?
Yeah. Listen, strategic value. We are at a critical point in human history. We have to change the world. What I think we need to do is align our know-how, our capital, toward the game-changing technologies. Think about it. From the first time a human picked up a rock and used it as a tool, tools have elevated the role of humans. We have new technologies available to us today, and we can drive the future in a way that's more sustainable, more equitable, actually a lot more fun for everyone. How's that?
I take it. Thank you so much, Barbara. That was amazing, right?
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was amazing.